Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And one wonders what goes through the minds of students these days. Are they really so lily-livered and snowflakey that they need to have a trigger warning on a book like Beowulf? Now, for those who don't know, Beowulf is it's a hero's journey kind of story. It's Germanic tradition. Our hero Beowulf aids the King of Denmark when the kingdom is attacked by Grendel, who's this big monster, this thing. It's all sort of Scandinavian Germanic folk telling. It's about 1,000 years old. No one's really sure who wrote it. And it's been around for, like I say, 1,000 years. And until this week, hasn't proved to be a problem whatsoever. But now apparently it's problematic. And so trigger warnings, and I kid you not, trigger warnings have been issued to students because the story involves animal cruelty and violence. Are they kidding you? Do you know that Grendel isn't real, and also none of it actually happened, and that Grendel was a monster who deserved everything he got? For heaven's sake, why are we letting people like this? If you're so dim that you need a trigger warning for a book like Beowulf, why the hell are you going to university? And don't forget, folks, these are the people that are going to grow up and be the future leaders. It's a frightening world. Anyway, let's look at this article. So here we are. Animal cruelty and graphic violence. University hits dragon-slaying Beowulf with trigger warnings. I mean, seriously. I can't. Anyway. Honestly, it's like reading The Hobbit and getting a trigger warning that trolls may be turned into stone. It's that stupid. Anyway, Old English dragon-slaying epic Beowulf has been hit with a wide variety of trigger warnings, including one in regards to animal cruelty. The seminal tale of the hero Beowulf, which details in Old English the exploits of one of Britain's most famous warriors in slaying a dragon, has been hit with a number of trigger warnings at one British university. Contained within the curriculum of the University of Aberdeen's Lost Gods and Hidden Monsters of the Celtic and Germanic Middle Ages module. That sounds like a fun 3 months, doesn't it? The poem is one of many historic pieces of European literature hit with a blanket trigger warnings to do with animal cruelty, ableism, animal death, along with a host of other things deemed problematic. You've got to look at these things at the time they were written, 1,000 years ago. They don't have the perspective of today. If you are unable or incapable or unwilling to accept that what happened in the past is different from what happens today, then you've got no business being at university, and maybe you should work at McDonald's, if McDonald's would have you. According to a report by the Telegraph, more than 30 warnings in total are provided by the university, with Beowulf specifically being named as having particularly graphic representations of violence, of homicidal, genocidal and interfamilial, alongside tales from Norse and Gaelic myth. Meanwhile, the Gaelic tale of the two battles of Magteray is also singled out by the third level institution as containing an explicit depiction of sex portrayed as part of behaviours that would today be identified with S&M and eating disorders. Are they kidding me? 1,000 years ago, life was nasty, brutish and short. Of course the literature responded to the period and the times. These people sitting in their little ivory towers. I tell you what, the world is getting to become a very harsh place at the moment because inflation is going up. Interest rates are going to go up. There's going to be a massive poverty. Everything is going to become cutthroat. And these little woke snowflakes will not be able to handle it because they've had no preparation. They've had an easy 20, 30 years. They have got no understanding of what is about to hit them. Their world is about to crash around them. Us older ones, we've been there. We've seen 15% mortgage rates. We've seen mass unemployment. We've seen societies ripped apart. These kids haven't, and they're coming out filled with rainbows and unicorn farts. God help them. Anyway, in the tale, the deity known as the Dagda was frequently depicted as being somewhat oafish throughout Irish mythology. Eats so much food, somewhat force-fed him to him by an enemy, that he becomes so overweight that he is left impotent. After being insulted and thrown about by beautiful women for his sorry state, he's let to go of the contents of the belly, so as to be able to take the woman as a mistress. So let's read that as man loses weight, takes lover. The Telegraph reports that the University of Aberdeen has a policy mandating the use of trigger warnings, which says that while the establishment reportedly espouses the right of individuals to speak freely within legal boundaries, pre-warning students is needed in order to honour the spirit of inclusivity. That sounds like a line of complete and utter horseshit, but I could be wrong. I bet I'm not. It is therefore the duty of all teaching staff to ensure that students are aware of course content before they are exposed to it, because apparently the children coming to university now have no concept of life, of history, of what went before. I think that's a failure of parenting. They are not prepared for anything they're going to find, and they're not prepared for the way the world's going to be in the next 18 months. Anyway, I'm going to round off, come up, and unbelievable. If this sort of thing is allowed to fester and continue, then it's going to end up with every book ever written having some kind of trigger warning. You know, Pride and Prejudice, caution, the male gaze. Or Wuthering Heights, caution, class distinction. You know, The Time Machine, caution, cruelty to Eloy. It's beyond belief. But these kids going into university have no life experience beyond their cosseted, protected little lives. They have never seen life as it is. And that's worrying for them, but it's terrifying for the rest of us. But I think, as I said, in the course of the next 18 months or so, they're going to see big changes to their entire life experience. And hopefully, at the end of it, they'll be better, more rounded, less snowflakey, and hopefully we'll have a lot fewer dicks in the world. Anyway, if you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notification of future outputs. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, guard your snowflakes, and goodbye.